Survival trauma. Some families carry the weight of war, famine, and displacement. Their trauma isn't loud. It's silent. They learn to survive, not to feel. If your grandparents fled a partition, a genocide, or a civil war, they likely taught their children one thing. Don't cry. Work hard. Don't complain. Not because they didn't love, but because love had no place in survival. So now, generations later, their grandchildren feel guilty for resting. They overwork. They panic when things are peaceful. Because peace feels unfamiliar, unsafe, unreal. That's survival trauma, passed down through fear, through control, through silence. Emotional neglect trauma. In some homes, everything looks perfect on the outside, but inside, emotions are avoided like landmines. Parents who were never allowed to feel sadness or fear grow up believing emotions are dangerous, so they teach their kids the same, not out of cruelty, but programming. Crying? Stop it. Angry? Be quiet. Depressed? You're just lazy. Over time, you learn to suppress your own needs, ignore your own pain, and smile through storms until one day you collapse and you don't even know why. That's emotional neglect trauma. It doesn't scream. It whispers. You don't matter. Violence, physical abuse trauma. Some families were raised by belts, fists, and rage, not because their parents were monsters, but because they were raised the same. Pain became a form of discipline. Love was conditional. Affection was replaced by authority. Now their children either repeat the cycle or run from it, unable to form closeness, because closeness always came with pain. This trauma lives in the body. You flinch at sudden movements. You raise your voice before others can raise theirs. You confuse love with control. That's how abuse becomes generational, even when no one talks about it. Shame-based trauma. You're too fat, too dark, too loud, too emotional. Some households plant shame like seeds or from childhood, and it grows into insecurity that lasts for decades. Girls are told to stay small. Boys are told to never cry. Children are taught they must earn their worth. That love is a reward, not a right. So they grow up believing, if I'm not perfect, I'm not lovable. If I make a mistake, I'm a failure. If I express myself, I'll be rejected. That's shame-based trauma. It doesn't just control what you do. It warps who you think you are. Addiction and denial trauma. Some homes smell like alcohol. Others are filled with secrets. Children raised by addicts often grow up too fast. They learn to parent their parents, to clean up messes, to lie for the sake of peace. They become hyper-responsible adults, fixers, people-pleasers, perfectionists. But inside, they're terrified of chaos because they were raised in it. Even if they never touch a substance, the effects of addiction ripple down. It's not the bottle that's inherited. It's the fear, the anxiety, the unspoken tension. That's generational trauma too, the kind that hides behind smiles and Sunday dinners. Cultural and colonial trauma. Entire cultures were stripped of identity, forced to abandon their language, beliefs, and pride. Colonized minds raise colonized children. Even after independence, the damage remains. Children grow up ashamed of their skin, their roots, their traditions. They're taught that white is better, that softness is weakness, that success means becoming someone else entirely. And so they disconnect from self, from ancestry, from each other. Cultural trauma is like a virus. It erases confidence. It replaces self-love with comparison. It punishes authenticity and rewards assimilation. Love deprivation trauma. Some families just didn't know how to love. They provided food, shelter, maybe even opportunities, but affection, validation, encouragement, missing, it wasn't intentional. Maybe no one ever held them as children, so they didn't know how to hold you. Now you're grown, and love confuses you. Kindness makes you suspicious. You push people away before they can leave. You don't know if you're lovable because you were never shown what love even looks like. That's a love deprivation trauma. It doesn't break you. It leaves you empty until you choose to fill yourself. The cycle ends with you. If you've seen any of this in your own life, you're not broken. You're aware. And that's the first step to healing. You are not your mother's sadness. You are not your father's rage. You are not your ancestors' silence. You are the break in the chain. You are the soft voice after generations of screaming. You are the gentle hands after generations of fists. You are the one who chooses to feel, and that changes everything.